90-year-old Jutta Holt from Vancouver spends her winters in Mexico, but the global COVID-19 pandemic has turned her seasonal trip into a permanent stay.
Well, I just decided to stay, and I've been healthy. And today I listened to things in Canada of all the different nursing homes and the people that have passed away and stuff like that.
So do you feel safer in Mexico?
Yeah, yes.
She's not alone. She's on Mexico's Lake Chapala.
No, I've been here so long, it's like my second home, right? I have a house here that we built, and I have 7 grandchildren and 1 great-grandson. Yeah. So I'm here.
Jutta is in Mexico's expat haven, home to 20,000 American, Canadian and European expats. Yet with the coronavirus pandemic disproportionately affecting older people, the international community here is at risk, and not everyone is as relaxed as Jutta.
When you get older, they say it's worse. Or some of them are freaked totally out, and others just, they just go.
And with international ambassadors to Mexico asking their citizens to return to their countries of origin, the community here is faced with a dilemma. Should they stay or should they go? The shores of Lake Chapala, Mexico's largest freshwater lake. It lies an hour to the south of the country's second largest city, Guadalajara, in western Mexico. Today, the north side of the lake is home to the country's largest expat community, who make up a third of the region's entire population. Eduardo Ramos is a local historian who has worked closely with the international residents.
Llegaron aquí en los años 40. 1940 empezaron a llegar extranjeros ya grandes con el fin de pasar sus últimos años aquí en el pueblo, enamorados de la belleza y de la gente, deciden venirse aquí a pasar sus últimos años.
The community established the Lake Chapala Society, an administration catering to their needs and representing them at the local political level. Today, it's presided over by Steve Balfour.
Right now, of our membership, people in their 60s made up about 35% of our membership. People in their 70s were 51% of the membership. People in their 80s, 8% of our membership. So we definitely are an organization that's very heavily skews in the retirement age groups.
And when it comes to the coronavirus pandemic, according to the World Health Organization, the mortality rates are highest among older people, with 95% of deaths in Europe, according to the WHO's regional director, occurring in the 60-plus age group.
And so it's very concerning for us. A lot of people that live alone, it's still 2/3 female to 1/3 male. So we're very concerned with those that are here that are retired. And again, especially those that live alone, to make sure they're getting the support they need and they feel there's a resource out there for them.
The residents aren't the only ones who are concerned. Both the Canadian and US ambassadors have urged their citizens to return to their countries of origin, and North American medical insurance companies, who offer policies to tourists abroad, cancelled coverage for anyone who remained in Mexico beyond February 28th. Yet, according to a recent survey conducted by Steve's organisation, some 80% of the Lakeside residents have remained.
I bought my home here almost 3 years ago, and I consider this to be my home now. So when people are putting out the news that you should rush home, well, this is my home. Many of us are staying here. We feel comfortable here. It's a very generous and giving community, and there's a tremendous system of support here for people.
And rather than heed the international authorities' advice, the community is taking steps to look after itself.
So it's very uncommon for people to say they would like help. And we're encouraging people to get past that. It's okay to ask to be checked in on a daily basis, especially if you live alone. Right now, we're offering a program where we will stay in touch with people. So you can send us an email. We have a group of about 100 volunteers who on a daily basis will send out an email to touch base with our constituents to see, if you sign up for the program, to see if you'd like to have ongoing communications. But I think it's really, I stress precaution to everyone, because you haven't heard of a case yet or don't know anybody personally that's been impacted, that doesn't mean it's not here or that it's not coming here.
And while the pandemic stays away, life in Mexico's expat haven goes on. Indeed, given the lockdown protocols, Lake Chapala remains heavily populated. Juan Jose Ramirez is a street musician who normally busks in Guadalajara, but today, and for the foreseeable future, Lake Chapala is his audience.
Pues hay más gente que en algunos lugares en Guadalajara, sí, porque hay menos gente. Sí, pero ahorita con este problema de coronavirus, pues está la gente reservada en sus hogares y pues yo doy clases de guitarra y canto en un restaurante, pero ahorita está todo cerrado, todos encerrados en sus casas y pues me vine acá a dar la vuelta a Jijic, a Chapala.
Indeed, as well as an expat haven, for Juan Jose, the place seems a haven from the pandemic too.
Pienso que tienen una mayor seguridad aquí, o sea, en base a lo que ven, sí, porque a lo mejor no ven muchos casos graves y como tú puedes ver toda la persona que ves en la calle anda incluso sin cubrebocas. Las personas que vienen no traen, los que están ahí enfrente no traen. Entonces eso es un motivo de que la gente tenga más seguridad.
At the El Torito supermarket, the largest independent general store in town, business continues as usual, according to manager Ruth Flores.
Bueno, en el supermercado El Torito tenemos más o menos una clientela de extranjeros de un 80%. Nosotros últimamente hemos visto un poco más del 80% o caras nuevas de extranjeros que no habíamos llegado a tener como clientes. O sea, ellos dicen, estoy a gusto aquí, pues me quedo aquí, ¿no? ¿Para qué arriesgarse?
Dr. Juan Jose Lastra is a local general practitioner. He says he's not surprised so many have remained.
Y hay otra gente que viene y dice, hasta el día que me muera, yo me quedo aquí. Se adaptó a la cultura, a los problemas también que hay aquí, y dice, no, este es el paraíso para mí, y yo de aquí no me voy, si no es que muerto.
In fact, Dr. Lastra argues that Lake Chapala, and perhaps Mexico in general, may be a better place to face a global pandemic.
Yo tengo ahora pacientes que me han hablado y me dicen, yo me arrepiento de haber ido a Canadá, yo me arrepiento de irme a Estados Unidos. Aquí no estamos como en Guadalajara, como en la Ciudad de México, es muy abierto. El virus es más difícil que se propague, pero el riesgo es menor aquí que en cualquier otra parte, sobre todo en ciudades grandes.
Indeed, Mexico's approach to the pandemic has differed from its northern neighbours. While lockdown orders may have been mandatory in many US states and Canada, life in towns and cities across Mexico continues. People still walk the streets, ride the metro, and gather in public places. But on Lakeside, there's a marked difference.
Ellos se están cuidando muchísimo. Para nosotros lo vemos que muy exagerados sus cuidados que tienen. No han salido de sus casas para nada, entonces todo lo ordenan por las redes modernas que hay ahorita. También nosotros nos estamos cuidando, pero no al grado de ellos, entonces ellos están apanicados. Nosotros también estamos asustados, pero la gran diferencia es que ellos tienen dinero, nosotros no, entonces tenemos que trabajar.
And that's a key difference when it comes to Mexico's ability to deal with the pandemic. Esteban Illades is the editor of Nexos magazine, one of Mexico's top political publications. He's one of a minority who are strictly observing the quarantine and spoke to CGTN through video connection.
About between 50 and 60% of the Mexican economy is informal and day-to-day. That means that people don't actually have savings or can't afford to stay home. So they need to go out and earn a daily wage in order for them to survive. So it's very difficult to tell people to stay home when if they stay home, they don't have enough food to eat or they don't have enough resources. They also see it as a way to keep living. You know, if you stay at home, you die. So you need to go out and face the virus in order to survive.
In addition to the country's economic makeup, Esteban also questions the pandemic policies of President Andrés Manuel López Obrador.
From the beginning, it wasn't treated very seriously, at least not from the president. Even when the crisis first started in China and then came to the United States, he still carried on with his massive events saying, there's no need to worry. You need to keep going out. You need to keep eating out at restaurants. There's nothing to worry about. I'll tell you when to worry about.
But that's at the federal level, and not all of Mexico's regional governments have been as lax when it comes to enforcement. In Jalisco state, where Lake Chapala is situated, it's a different story.
At a more local level, there's been a political struggle between local governments and the president. I mean, especially from opposition parties in Jalisco, for example, where you find Lake Chapala, the governor of Jalisco. He's definitely presented himself as an opposition figure to López Obrador. He's urging people to stay home and telling them that if they don't comply with the order, they're bound to go to jail.
As enforcement varies across this country of 126 million people, Mexico could be both an excellent or a terrible option to live through a global pandemic. Dr. Alejandro Macias is one of Mexico's leading epidemiologists. He was the health commissioner the last time the country faced a serious epidemic in 2009, when a deadly bout of influenza struck Mexico City.
When you require a mechanical ventilator and you are older than 65, 70 years old, your prognosis is very bad, even in the United States. I mean, the possibility for you to live the intensive care alive is very low. There and here in Mexico also. So I would rather say, which are the other priorities? The priority is always your life. But I'm not sure that if you run to the United States, you will save your life there. If you need a mechanical ventilator, your prognostic is not good there, is not good here either.
He says when it comes to the older community, prevention is key.
The risk to going out, it's high here in Mexico and it's high in the United States. So just ponder which is better for you, where you can do it better. Because if you are living in an area where they are having the virus and you go out and you share public spaces, public places with others, your risk is going to be out anyway.
For those who remain, it's about riding out the pandemic. Michael Eager is Yitta's son. He's decided to remain too, alongside his mother, while his children stay in Canada.
I have relatives in the United States. I have relatives in Canada, and I'm in constant contact with them. And I mean, north of the border, it's chaos.
Michael runs a hotel catering specifically to expats. From October to May annually, his international guests live on the Lakeside before returning to the more bearable weather back home. And if not the pandemic, the fallout from the lack of visitors could be fatal.
Well, normally the streets are like this, and that means lots of people. And lots of times I drive down any street, most of the time I'm here, and it's wall-to-wall expats, gringos, and you wonder, well, where are the Mexicans at?
And as to whether life can ever be normal again on these shores, opinions differ.
Well, having been through a few different tragedies, unfortunately, in my lifetime, one of them, the more recent, the Boston Marathon bombing, I was right there when that took place. Boston Marathon bombing changed the sport of running forever. It'll never be the same again. And I think that this particular crisis, which is probably the biggest crisis of our lifetime, I think that this is also going to change how we interact going forward. But I think we're all strong. I think that that's the power that's in us, and that we will find a way through that. We will find a way to live safer, healthier, and with more caution in the future.
But for Michael, like the majority of his compatriots who have chosen Mexico to make their homes, pandemic or not, this is where they choose to be.
This is my life. This is all I've ever done. And for me to stay at home would be torture. I have my little plot of land in the Campo Santo, which is a graveyard. So I'm a lifer. I'm here for good. I won't go anywhere else.